We have a lot to cover here, so let's dive right in. Need for Speed Hot Pursuit Remastered. Need for Speed Hot Pursuit Remastered features higher resolution models, improved shadows and reflections, more particle effects, better anti-aliasing and SSAO, and much more. It also runs at 4K resolution and 60 frames per second on PC. PS4 Pro and Xbox One X can run it at 1080p 60 or 4K 30. Cross-platform play between all platforms is also confirmed, along with all the DLC content, which adds another 6 hours of gameplay. Other changes include new achievements, wraps, and car colors, along with updates to photo mode, while Need for Speed Hot Pursuit Remastered will retail for $39.99 on consoles. It will only cost $29.99 on PC. Hot Pursuit Remastered is set to release for PC, PS4, and Xbox One on November 6th, 2020, and for the Switch on the 13th of November 2020. And of course, keep an eye out for our review of that. Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Valhalla has some interesting new features, like a map that keeps track of alliances across England. Combat is seeing some changes with a new stun system for handling enemies. You can also dual-wield various weapons and customize your attack style right down to charging someone with 2 shields. You don't always have to fight though. Stealth and blending in with crowds returns and helps for infiltrating various locations where Eivor may not be welcome. Plenty of hunting and exploring ancient ruins will be done, all for the sake of growing your settlement. Assassin's Creed Valhalla is out on November 10th, 2020 for PC, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and Series S, and Stadia. The PS5 version will release on November 12th. Destiny 2 Beyond Light. This new expansion will see players traveling to Europa and meeting Eris Morn, the Drifter, and Exo Stranger. Yes, that Exo Stranger. Players will be fighting against Aramis, the fallen Kell of Darkness this time. In order to stop the enormous empire she's created, players will utilize the power of darkness. This manifests as a new element called stasis, and different powers and abilities can be used. These range from slowing fields to destructive energy. The game is out on November 10th, 2020 for PC, PS4, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and Series S, PS5, and Stadia. Tetris Effect Connected. Enhanced Games' Tetris Effect Connected will be a launch title for the Xbox Series X and Series S. However, it will also be coming to Xbox One, PC, and Xbox Game Pass on November 10th. This will mark the surreal puzzler's debut on the Xbox family of consoles. Of course, Tetris Effect Connected isn't a simple port. Along with native 4K 60fps support on the Xbox Series X and PC, it also adds new multiplayer modes. There's also Zone Battle, which makes for one-on-one games featuring the zone mechanic, and Connected Mode for 3 players to work together against AI bosses. All of this is in addition to the base game's single-player modes and 30 stages. Yakuza Like a Dragon. Unlike previous games in the series, Yakuza Like a Dragon is a turn-based RPG. It features a new protagonist, Ichiban Kasuga, but he's accompanied by different party members, namely Saiko, Adachi, and Nanba. With the job system, each individual can choose from over 20 different jobs. Whether it's dancing enemies to death as a breaker or singing as an idol, the game still features sub-stories with over 50 to complete, classic Sega titles in the arcade, and even activities like kart racing. Iconic characters like Kazuma Kiryu and Goro Majima even make appearances in legendary battles. The game comes out on Xbox One, Xbox Series X, Xbox Series X, PS4, and PC on November 10th. The PS5 version will be out in March of 2021. The Pathless. The Pathless' story focuses on the hunter who's on a strange island overtaken by darkness. With a bow and arrow and faithful eagle, the hunter must seek out corrupted spirits and hunt them down. Along with combat against massive foes, there's also a healthy bit of platforming and puzzle solving. Announced almost 2 years ago, the art style and visual design is as gorgeous as ever. Along with PS5, PS4, and PC, the Pathless will also be available on iOS on November 12th. Sackboy: A Big Adventure. It's been a while since we've seen a Little Big Planet game and the adorable mascot of the platforming creation sharing series, Sackboy. He will, however, be stepping back into the limelight very soon. Sony made the surprise announcement by unveiling Sackboy: A Big Adventure. It's not quite Little Big Planet, but it's the platforming goodness Little Big Planet fans have been waiting for. Interestingly enough, unlike the series it spawns from, Sackboy: A Big Adventure will focus only on platforming, eschewing the play, create, share mechanic the series once popularized. Another change it's making is to the perspective. Instead of being a side-scrolling game, Sackboy is going to be a full-fledged 3D platformer. 4-player co-op has been confirmed though, so that much at least is being retained. The game is out on PS4 and PS5 November 12, 2020. Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales. Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales is out on November 12th for PS4 and PS5. Taking place 1 year after the events of The City That Never Sleeps DLC from the first game, it sees Miles becoming Spider-Man and taking on his own share of villains. Along with new missions, Miles also has his share of new powers to utilize. Outside of combat, Miles has a phone that you'll be able to pull up whenever you want by swiping up on the DualSense. And this is where you'll find the new Friendly Neighborhood Spider app, where you can look for crimes and other activities, basically replacing the police scanner from the previous game. Speaking of crimes, though there will be a few returning ones, there will be several new additions as well. Demon's Souls Remake. Say what you will about the PS5, but Sony is bringing quite the first-party effort for the system's launch. One of those is the remake from Bluepoint Games and Sony Japan studio, Demon's Souls. The game was the beginning of the Souls franchise as we know it today back in the PS3, and will now help to kick off the PS5. It will also make use of not just the new technology of the console, but also the controller. Different sensations will be implemented for weapon attacks and spells, letting you have various different feelings via those triggers based on how you play. Demon's Souls is set to launch alongside the PS5 on November 12th. Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. What's most interesting about Black Ops Cold War's campaign is how much emphasis it is putting on player choice. You will be playing as a character that you will create at the beginning of the campaign, with customization options such as appearance and gender. Additionally, some customization options will also have gameplay repercussions, like psychological profiles that affect gameplay options, and even things such as your sprint speed or aiming. And yes, there are dialogue options. In fact, the choices players make will also lead to multiple endings, which is a first for the series. Player choice is something that will be baked into the gameplay and missions as well. Players will have multiple paths they can take to get their objectives. Doing optional activities using missions might uncover missions that unlock side missions to provide greater narrative context. And some missions will even let you get your objective in multiple different ways. The game will launch on Microsoft Windows, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S on November 13th. Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity. Unlike the first Hyrule Warriors, Age of Calamity sees Koei Tecmo working much more closely with Nintendo. This would explain why the art direction, combats, which seems to implement the flurry rush, and enemy designs resemble Breath of the Wild so closely. It's out on November 20th for the Nintendo Switch, and as the name implies, will take place before The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, when the Great Calamity first struck. That's it for this video. If you enjoyed and would like to see more, feel free to hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell to ensure you'll be notified when new videos go up.